All right, a little New Camptown Races there. It's a one of the rare songs in B flat in bluegrass in the bluegrass repertoire. Okay, so today's lesson is called "Do you really need to know scales, or are you just wasting your life?" Okay, so a lot of once in a while you'll hear this. People say, "Well, you don't need to know scales. You're just supposed to do this," or "You don't need to know scales. Um, you're just supposed to learn tunes, or you're just supposed to, um, listen to records and do this." And so that's one point of view. I hear you out, okay, but I'm going to offer a different point of view and say that scales are valuable, okay, and here's why scales are valuable. Now it's true if you listen to good bluegrass improvising, it's not just running up and down a scale. I don't care if it's a pentatonic or a major or a hexatonic, whatever it is. It's not just about running up and down a scale. There's nuances in bluegrass, in language, that you want to get, okay? So, what happens sometimes is somebody will just learn a scale and they'll say, I don't know, somehow this comes through the ether, says, "So if I learn the scale, all the notes will be good?" No, nobody told that to you. Not all the notes will be good. If they're good, if they sound good, they're good. It's quite possible to play a scale and play notes that sound bad. Um, so sometimes you'll get people that learn a pentatonic scale, or you'll get people that learn a major scale, and automatically think, well, I just have to play that scale, and well, pick the notes in random order, and they will all sound good. This won't ever work, okay? If like my dad said, the sun shines on a dog's behind every once in a while, okay? But no, if it does, you get lucky. Sometimes, here's a G major scale. I'll get students that will start doing things like this. It's like, well, not sure where you're going with that, Charlie, right? Okay, but all the notes I played were in the scale. So I get where people come from um, when they say that it's not about knowing scales. Okay, but let's talk about the positive side of scales. The melody that you're trying to play is contained within that scale. So when musicians say this song is in the key of D, they mean the notes and the chords of that song are in the D scale, in the D major scale. So that means instead of all the frets on this guitar to have a choice from, I've now limiting my choices to the notes in the D scale. So I have to know the D scale, and I have to be able to maneuver through it in a reasonable way. And I just went up the scale and down the scale, okay? And I have to be able to do that. And then I can join that with my ear or with a sheet of notated music and know what the notes are going to be. So if I say I know that Old Grimes is in the key of D, I know that Old Grimes uses the D major scale, and all the notes are in that scale. So now I can join my memory of what that song sounds like with this scale, and I can find the song. Okay. Um, that may take a while to get where you can do that, but that's the first thing. So I'm going to give an example of a song that has a lot of weird chords, but the whole song is basically contained to the G major scale. And it's a Beatles song, it's Blackbird. I say, blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You are only waiting for this moment to arrive. Now it has a little flat third right there for a bluesy sound. But basically, all that's contained to a single scale. Now, when I play the chords with that, blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Okay, the chords, whoever wrote that song, Paul McCartney, I guess, the chords blend beautifully with the melody. But there's an example of a song, the melody stays in one key and the chords are kind of all over the place. But most melodies are like that. Most songs don't stray far from the scale, okay? And I don't care if it's a fiddle tune, even most jazz standards, that's the truth, okay? Now, when you go to improvise in bluegrass, not necessarily in old-time music or fiddle tunes, but in the bluegrass world, we add the blues into this, okay? So we add these flat thirds and these flat fifths and the stuff like this. So now we leave the scale behind sometimes and manage each chord separately, okay? When in the improvising side of things. In the melody though, the melody stays the same. So here's an example of this. I'm going to go back to that song I was playing earlier, okay? I'm going to say, every note so far has been in the well, at capo, so I'll say G major scale. Okay. But now if I was improvising on that, I'd start using the blue notes in there. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I'm not just staying in one scale when I improvise, but I'm handling chord by chord. Okay, so that's kind of the distinction. So do learn your scales, okay? Do learn them. They're going to help you find melodies. And then if you want to learn to improvise, learn to do that too. And that's where, we can start talking about what they call bluegrass language or licks or whatever that's going to be. But now that's my vote, is I'd say really it is worth learning the scales. Now, I don't know if you need to learn all 12 scales like a jazz musician, but you can certainly learn C, G, D, A, and E, which are the main keys you're going to play in bluegrass. All right, so maybe one more run on this. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe, and come join me in a class, okay? AndysLessons.com got lots of fun classes we do all the time, and here we are.